We're going to cover two things about HeinOnline's Federal Legislative History Library in this Jenkins Law Library video tip. Two things. Number one is, what's the most efficient way to find a published legislative history? Number two, how can I go beyond those published legislative histories and find additional titles or materials that might be of interest to me beyond what's published in the legislative histories? We're going to cover both of them. Number one, what's the easiest, best, most efficient way to find a legislative history? Well, I find that the public law number makes the most sense, and that is a tab here, believe it or not, folks. So click on the public law number tab, and the acts are arranged numerically in ascending order according to their public law number. And the first part of the number, as you well know, is the Congress. I don't want to call it the session of Congress, but it's the Congress. So this is the 41st Congress, the 60th Congress, and so forth. And then the 97 here, the second number, is the act passed during that Congress. So I am interested in the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is 101-336. I use Control F to search within the browser a lot in HeinOnline. So I'm going to be as efficient, and you can call that lazy if you like, as possible by doing Control F and then typing 101 dash. And I didn't even have to type the full number, because here's the fourth one down here is the ADA, the one that I wanted. So that is the most efficient, the easiest way to find a particular legislative history that you're interested in. However, if you don't have the number, you don't want to search by number, and you want to search by words, you can click on publication title and search within title words. Now, I want you to pay attention to the navigation features in Hein. I'm going to give you a tip about this. Wherever you're at, it's highlighted in yellow. So we're in the legislative history title collection, and we're searching or browsing by title. Okay? You notice there's no letter highlighted here, so we're actually searching A to Z. However, this will change depending on how you navigate within Hein. And I just want to show you something. Let me go back to the Hein main page and select the Legislative History Library. We're going to wind up in the same place. We're in the collection and we're browsing by title. But look, we've defaulted to the letter A. So when you first go in, it defaults to A. But if you move around a bit, it will actually give you a different slice and dice of the publication title. In this case, everything. So pay attention to that, because if you're searching using Control F in your browser and you're only in the A's, that may not be exactly what you want. So here I am searching A to Z. Another thing to pay attention to is that about 1/3 of the published legislative histories that Hein has begin with legislative history of. Well, you know, so if you're looking in the A's for ADA, and you don't find it, well, it might be in the L's, believe it or not. So this is why I like searching all the letters A to Z, because it just gives me the widest possible view of everything. Okay, so now I've got Control F still open here. I'm going to search for Superfund. Faked you out there, didn't I? You thought I was going to stick with ADA. Well, I picked Superfund because this is a nice example of the fact that Superfund isn't really called Superfund. It's called Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act, or as we used to call it, CERCLA. But Hein does a nice job of many times, not all the time, but many times putting the popular name of the act in the title of the act. So if you don't know what CERCLA means, or what all the words added up to, or whatever, you can actually search by popular name Superfund and have a good shot at getting it. So I like what Hein does there. It makes it a lot easier to browse, and of course Control F in the browser works well as well. All right. Second part, how do you find stuff beyond what's published legislative histories? Well, check this tab out, Sources of Compiled Legislative History Database. Okay. And again, everything in ascending numeric order, and I am going to be efficient, parentheses, lazy. I'm going to go back to the 101st Congress using Control F. And here's ADA again. Faked you out again. Now I'm back to ADA. And here are the additional documents that I might be interested in. Some of these are books, and some of these are law review articles. Okay, and you never quite know what you're going to unearth. There's some good stuff that you can find in here. Here's one from bankruptcy. Some people know this, some people don't. You know, Collier on bankruptcy has legislative history information in the later volumes, and so that's something I probably would not have thought of that, and now I've stumbled onto that by going to the Sources of Compiled Legislative History database. So these are two good tips about HeinOnline. It's a great resource. There's tons of stuff that they have, and you just, the more you know about them, the more you marvel at what they provide.